Okay, in this video we're going to do more exploring of ideas. This time round I'm going to show you a paper-based technique, and we're going to be using our design knowledge to explore an idea for a jungle themed stationery holder. Before we go on to that, let's examine what we've done already. We've already looked at exploring ideas, and we used an iron brew display product in order to do that. And the thing about exploring ideas, let's remind ourselves, this is the phase that comes after you've come up with your initial idea in a design process. You've come up with an initial idea, you've realised that it needs to be improved, and this process of improvement is called exploring ideas. And how do we know when we're finished improving our idea? Is when it finally matches the specification that we're working towards as well. So this whole business of exploring ideas is about nudging and tweaking and changing and improving our initial idea so that it becomes a very close match to the specification that comes with it. So it's a creative process. It's done over many sketches. It's done over quite a lot of sheets of paper. Sometimes it goes right, sometimes it goes wrong. Right? But I'm going to show you in this video a technique, a slightly different technique from what we did in the Iron Brew project. So let's get started. So, your task. You've been provided with the initial idea for a stationery holder. Something to hold pens, pencils, scissors, things like that. Okay? You must explore the idea further so that it matches the specification. Exploration should be creative, and it may take a few A4 pages to complete. In fact, it will. It will take a few pages to complete. I want you to sketch, and I want you to describe each of your changes using annotations. Let's take a look at the specification then. So, we've got 5 points here that describes what this product must do. It must be able to hold scissors, tape, and 3 pencils. I'm going to highlight the word 3 for you there. 3 pencils. The product must hold or display the items in an interesting way. Okay, nothing boring, please. Alright, we want these products held in an interesting way. The product must be symmetrical. Somebody must have done some research and found out that only symmetrical stationery holders are going to sell well on Amazon. So this product has to be symmetrical. The product must have a jungle theme. That's it. What do we mean by jungle theme? Well, you'll need to figure that out. And the product must be made from pine and 5mm thick acrylic sheet. Now remember, acrylic is a thermoplastic. It can often be see-through, and it's pretty easy to clean and work with. Alright, so this is the start of the technique. We're going to need quite a few sheets of paper for this. We're going to need a sheet of A3 paper. Now, if you don't have A3 paper, you can sellotape 2 pieces of A4 together to get that. But in other words, we need a big piece of A3 paper. And then we're going to need 3 sheets of A4 paper. You're going to need pencils, rulers, coloured pens and pencils, and some scissors. And you're going to need some glue or tape. Okay, so preparation. To 2 of the sheets of A4, I want you to fold them twice to make A6 size panels. Alright, so you're going to fold the A4 sheet of paper once and then twice, and you're going to do that to 2 of those A4 sheets, and then you're going to cut out the panels so that you have 8 small panels, all of which are a quarter the size of A4, or A6 as we call it. Okay, so we're going to cut them out. We're going to need those panels. So step 1, onto the sheet of A4. So this is the big sheet of A4 that you haven't cut up. I want you to sketch this initial idea. Make your sketch as accurate as possible. Do it to the highest standard. Alright, so sketch this and copy down the annotations as well. And now we move on to the exploration exercise. So step 2, you're going to use 2 of the small panels. Remember the little A6 panels? You're going to use 2 of them. And I want you to show me 2 alternatives for how the product could hold all of the items in an interesting way. So we've picked one of those sentences from the specification, and I want you to show me 2 alternatives. Draw one of them on one small panel of paper and draw the other one on the other small panel of paper. And I've given you some helper words. So what do we mean by holding items in an interesting way? Well, you're the designer. You need to figure that out. The helper words are in, on, over, or hanging. We could have holes, we could have under, we could have shelves, we could have baskets. Those are my helper words. You might come up with other helper words. Step 3. Pick up another 2 small panels of paper and show me 2 ways that the product could be made symmetrical. Now, if you like, you can go all the way back to the initial idea and you can make that symmetrical, or you can look at one of your later sketches and start there. So you can choose any starting point. Look at any of the sketches that you have and decide what one you like and which one you want to make symmetrical. The helper words here, as you can make it vertically symmetrical, symmetrical top and bottom. Horizontally symmetrical, meaning it's symmetrical left and right. Or, if you want to be fancy, you can make it rotationally symmetrical, which means every time you spin it, it looks the same. So now we've got 4 little drawings on these small pieces of paper. Let's move on to step 4. So using another 2 small panels, I want you to show me 2 ways that a jungle theme could be incorporated into the solution. Now I'm going to leave jungle theme up to you to decide what that is. It could involve animals, it could involve plants or rivers, it could involve jungle patterns, jungle weather, the light that you get, tribes, or maybe just a general sense of adventure. Okay. So we're drawing alternatives on these little small pieces of paper. Let's go for step 5. Okay. Before we get to step 5, let's talk a little bit about workshop skills. You see, in design and manufacture, you must make the products that you design. Anything that you design, you're going to have to go into the workshop, you're going to have to make it. Not in this project, but in future projects. And the thing is that your ideas, they must be reasonably complex for you to get good marks in the workshop. If you design something that's too simple, then you don't get the marks for manufacturing it because it's just been too easy. So super simple products that are dead easy to make will not score highly in the workshop. So let's look at step 5. Using 2 of your small panels, show me 2 ways that you could improve the practical skills required to make the product. So in other words, use 2 small panels to show me 2 ways that you can make this product score higher in the workshop. Make it a little bit more complex, a little bit more harder to make. Okay, now that may be that something has a more complex shape, or it's got some woodwork joins in it, or you've got a piece of plastic that's been bent, or 2 things are screwed together, or something's been cut with a curved shape. Alright, so we're looking for something that's a wee bit more tricky to make, and I've given you some helper words here. That could be around the idea of forming something through a mould, or shaping something, or joining 2 things together, or through your choice of materials. Perhaps if you chose a difficult material to work with, like a piece of metal. Okay. It could involve you building a frame, or it could involve you splitting your design into many parts, perhaps bending part of it, or drilling out some of it. So I'm looking for you to take one of your ideas and make it just a little bit more skillful to make in the workshop. Right, so by now you've got a piece of A3 paper that you've done nothing with. You've got a piece of A4 paper onto which you drew the initial idea, and you've got 8 small pieces of paper, all with different explorations on them. Step 6. Put down your original sketch of the stationery holder. Part 7, and you can now look at the drawing on this slide. Lay out all of your small exploration sketches, showing the path of your exploration. This is what I've shown over here with this drawing. So, in the background I've got my A3 sheet of paper, and onto that I'm putting down all the little small drawings that I made. The 2 drawings about the jungle theme, and the 2 drawings about improving practical skills, and the 2 drawings to do with holding it in an interesting way. And I want you to connect these. I want you to put them out in an order that makes sense to you. Alright, so that you can connect them with arrows, because we did that in the Iron Brew project, didn't we? And I explained to you that this process of exploration, it's like a process that you go through. Ideas follow other ideas, things linked to one another. So put them down in an order that makes sense to you and connect them with arrows. Think about the following as you do that. Are there clear changes? Are there alternatives in your exploration? Because design exploration is all about you considering alternatives. Think about the decisions that you were making when you were choosing which idea to modify, which idea to improve. and think about which of your ideas is the best. Glue the panels onto the sheet of A3, add arrows between them to show the flow of your ideas. And that's you at the end of the task. So by the end of this task, you will have glued down all these little panels, and on each of these panels there will be drawings, and there will be annotations and explanations, and they'll all be connected with arrows showing me a kind of flow, the way that your thinking progressed. Then I want you to photograph that, and I want you to insert it into the class notebook page. And I think that's it. Okay, so lots to do in there. Okay, let's go right back to the start, and let's just highlight these two paragraphs right here. Exploration should be creative, and it may take a few A4 pages to complete. Sketch and describe each of your changes. So each time you draw on one of those small pieces of paper, I want you to explain it through annotations. And remember what I said after the Iron Brew project, your annotations have to tell me what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're making the change. And I think that's it. Good luck.